2014 Hurricane Expo. We're glad you made it. This is wonderful. It's actually should be educational for everybody that comes, and we encourage all citizens and visitors of the island to come and experience what it takes to be prepared in case of an evacuation.
Number one thing that we always hear about being prepared is turning your water off. Tell us about that.
Yes, that's a huge thing to know. Obviously, when big storms come, we need to evacuate the island. So the first thing you can do is definitely go out to your meter box here and turn your water off. What we have set up here is just your water's coming in, and here's your meter. But the most important part that we're trying to educate people today is this is the customer shutoff valve right here. It's real simple, and it saves a lot of water consumption and time. All it is a quick shut off, and the water's cut off. This is going to help prevent a lot more flooding. It's going to help the customer a lot too. It's going to prevent a lot of water damage, and in general, it's just going to get them service back faster when we come back in and get water up and running.
My latest slogan is Save a Life, Stop a Crime, or Report a Fire.
Yes. That's great. And what do you do out at the Consolidated Center?
I'm the 911 public educator. Pretty much go to a lot of community meetings, community events, and also go to schools and give awareness to the kids about 911.
Do you think most families have an emergency plan in place?
Sometimes I doubt it. I wish they would have a better plan, talk to the kids more, but now that we are going more to the community out, we're trying to reach them and give them ideas of how to plan ahead in case of an emergency.
What's the number one tip you could give a family today?
A number one tip is one day to have a family meeting and just have talk to the kids about how the importance of calling 911. Take it serious. Don't make fun of it. Not joke about 911, and also just have a little scenario if something happens, what you will do in practice.
What's the biggest mistake that you see a resident make during a disaster?
A lot of people wait too late to get prepared. So as soon as they start talking about evacuation, go ahead and start getting prepared, go ahead and start packing, getting things ready, because you never know when it might be too late. So be prepared.
I think this is great for Sullivan's Island and Isle of Palms, and even Mount Pleasant residents. I mean, we have to feel the same way as the island residents because we are in the zone. My disaster plan is, if it's to be evacuated, I will be out of here early. I will not wait until they say involuntary. I'm going to, as soon as they say, hey, this is going to hit, it's going to be a category so-and-so, I'm going to leave town.
What's the number one thing you could advise a resident on our island to do?
Well, it's actually more than one thing. I guess first, to know what your hazards are. Flooding is a big deal here, certainly, by the storm surge and rainfall, of course, but storm surge, flooding, and also to know that when you need to evacuate, to do it. And if you can evacuate earlier, if you have the flexibility with your life and your job and all that, to get out a lot earlier than you can, or than they're before they make it sort of mandatory, if you will. They're not going to use those terms anymore. They're just going to say evacuate.
What do you find is the biggest mistake a resident makes during a disaster or after a disaster?
Well, the biggest mistake, I guess, during or just before is to not really understand what might happen to them and what they could have done, I guess, to prepare themselves. Usually they'll learn that after, though, and they'll, if they didn't evacuate for whatever reason, they'll probably say, well, I'll evacuate the next time. Or if they didn't have flood insurance, maybe they didn't have to have it, but then they had some flood damage, then they probably will have it the next time. So just really first understanding the risks of your area where you are. We're on the coast here. This is a barrier island. It floods, and it's been a while since we've had a hurricane, but eventually it's going to happen again. I hope not, but you have to plan as if it will.
Why are you at the Disaster Expo today?
Well, we have decided that it is a good idea to present options for people to learn about disaster preparedness and find products that assist them in preparing for disasters. As a Charlestonian, I lived here during Hugo, and I remember what it was like afterwards. I think that a lot of people are coming to this area. They aren't aware of a major storm coming in, how it disrupts the normal food and water supply, and that's why we've started this company.
Are there any items you could show us today that would be kind of interesting to a resident?
Yes, we actually recommend water filtration and food storage in Mylar. And residents in Charleston County are very familiar with disruption of water supply with the Rifle Range Road issue, and then Goose Creek had to boil the water. So having a way to filter water is, without water, you're dead. So having a water filter, vital. And for Life Straw, absolutely the best water filter out there. Great to have these in your vehicle, at the house, everywhere. Now we also have some food, and I don't know if you've had an opportunity to taste any. We have some shortbread food. It lasts 5 years. It's great for the boat, the car, the house. As you can see here, it's high in recommended vitamins, and it's designed to be stored in temperatures ranging from -22 to as high as 149. Now the higher the temperature, the shorter the life. So at 149 degrees, they estimate the life to be no less than 5 years. At that price, it's hard not to have some in your car or the house.
We're representing the ham radio community, or the amateur radio community, and demonstrating some of our equipment and our ability to react in an emergency or a disaster to provide backup communications when regular communications are out, or the communication methods that are available are overloaded and you need extra information passed. Your cell phone provider has only got to guarantee 6% of its customer base getting service at any one time. In a disaster, that means 94% of the people have got no service. So this is a backup form of communications for it. The other thing is that if we had in the Charleston area a major earthquake and say the connector was down, how are you going to communicate off the island except by boat? You're not going to use the bridge or anything else. So it gives you, again, a backup communication system where you can get either assistance or make reports that, hey, everything's okay here, or we need this type of assistance, rather than no one knowing that you're even okay.